You know, life is about transition. And I was going through a great transition to see exactly what I could do in terms of being able to help people. I started to notice that a lot of people needed help, but they didn't have hope. And I caught the epiphany. And I said, okay, this is something that I need to create for people. Through my spiritual life, I've prayed, just like everybody, they reach for a higher something. When I reached for something, it came to me that I was supposed to be the one that brings hope. And it had to come in the form of fashion slash logo, something that people can identify with. And so that's when the octopus came into fruition. So I researched the octopus and I said, the octopus means intellectual presence. So I said, okay, so if intellectual presence came into the atmosphere, if it comes from above, because it came from above to me, that means that each tentacle that's represented by this octopus means that there's rays of hope for everybody, and everybody can attain a goal with each octopus tentacle. And if you wear that tentacle, if you wear that brand, if you wear that logo, then you're representing hope, longevity, good life, and positivity moving forward. So when I approached Marqoo, I approached it from a standpoint of being able to help people, which brings me over into charitable things that I do, not just to gain notoriety throughout the world, but just because it's a part of what the man behind Marqoo is. The hope, the empowerment part about it, oneself, and just being able to reach out into these areas and move the dust off of things that give life. And so that's where we are. Traveling all over the world, you see so many different things. Everybody wants to reach out to third world countries because they see that there's something missing. There's things missing in our country too. What better way to fill in the blanks of those things that are missing by being able to get on the ground floor with people? Not to say that people are beneath me or certain things, but just to say, I understand where you are. But let's not focus on where you are. Let's focus on what it takes to get you where you need to be. So it's a humanitarian grumble in my belly and in my spirit to emit positivity to people. And I want to represent that by everything that I touch. So when you see me, you don't see the billionaire. You see a person that wants to try to help people, not just by shoving money down their throats, but being able to give them the opportunity to be successful as well. What does success mean to you? It has to mean something. You have to identify with success in some kind of way. Me, I identify with success in how I can help people. It's a successful relationship with me and people if they get a part of who I am. So if they get a part of Marqoo, that means that they get a part of wanting to help other people. And that's what Marqoo represents. It's positive. It's all positivity moving forward. Everything that you want to create in your life to make a change socially, economically, globally, it's all wrapped up into Marqoo. What we're doing is we're promoting the identity of hope, life, and all positivity moving forward. Last year I touched the Philippines for the first time in my life. That's just one of the countries that I've been to. And to see the destruction that has happened from natural disasters, it kind of puts you in a place to say, man, I can go home and get in my bed and wake up and have a bowl of cereal or whatever I want, When I touched the Philippines, that opportunity was not there. There were many people that had high net worth that were bringing change to that country. But it wasn't enough people collectively to promote such a change that when we left, it started something in the people. It was food that was giving, it was clothes that were giving. There were certain companies that were rebuilding structures that have been demolished. But when we touched down, it was different. The view was different. When we left, the view was the same. The hope wasn't there. So we were able to bring everything there except for hope. When we looked at the people on the way out, it was still something missing with the people. And so I wanted to bring something dynamic, that it's a positive, tangible, permanent footprint that would help people. Sudan was another area that we went into. Kenya, even parts of Johannesburg that we see that are built, that's built up like New York City. You know, there's a lot of economic development and a lot of growth that's going on there. But there's still something missing. There's still something missing in these places. And people wear clothes, people drink water, people want to smell good, but there's nothing attached to, there's no hope attached to the things that they desire. And so with Marqoo, we wanted to bring a tangible logo that would create hope, that would give them a sense of wellness and some creativity. We went to Malaysia. Malaysia was a place where they had different cultures there. There was Christian culture, there was Islamic culture, there was Buddhism cultures. And within these cultures, the way that things are done is a little different in terms of outreach for people, who gets what, different things of that nature. And so we didn't want to wrestle with the belief systems of people. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring hope to people, regardless where they were in their religious belief. They still need hope. Things were very diverse there, but we were able to bring hope to them through Marqoo. Brazil. Brazil had a very bad water situation, and it was right before the FIFA Cup. And we touched the ground in Brazil initially to market our product. When we got there, there was a water issue, and so we began to talk to the local government in the country to see what we could do, because our introduction was we want to bring a bottled water structure product to this country. And so we put ourselves in a remarkable position. We initially went out there to profit, but it turned out to be a humanitarian thing where we have the ability now to go in and help them with their infrastructure. So that's another hope scenario that the logo represents, because as we know it, water is very, very, very vital and important to the body. And if there's a country or a continent that's having a situation with water, then their people are enduring all kinds of illnesses and things of that nature. So how can you hope, how can you have a positive outlook on life if you can't get the essential water source that you need? So not only is it just to market for profit, but it's also to create jobs and bring in awareness, you know? So let's talk about, we've touched different countries, and there's multiple other countries that we've been to, but let's talk about the country we live in. The country that is free, the country that people here have not had the opportunity to go to other countries, but they're lacking just like third world countries are. And what it is it's the lack of knowledge, because no one has the time to go and sit on the streets, the dilapidated areas, and say, hey, I'm gonna sit with the less fortunate today. It's done for publicity, but it's not done from a true love standpoint. I'm not gonna talk about how many hundreds of people I've taken off the street in the area that I live in, the state that I live in. And it's not to toot my own horn, but it's to say, hey, if we're going to be dynamic and if we're going to operate as leaders, we first have to change the environment around us, before we can go to another environment. Because people will look back and say, well, what did you do at home? You're doing things across seas, but what are you doing at home? So there's people walking around now before the product has even hit the stores. They were walking around with Marqoo t-shirts on. It was a hope thing for me, because I understood what it represented. So in essence, the question is, what countries have you been to, and what have you done in these countries, and what have you seen? I've seen a lot of dilapidation in these countries, and I've left those countries different than what they were in terms of a footprint. The hope has not been administered as strongly in those places as I would like it to be. And that's the reason why we're continuing full force with Marqoo to bring about global change. Marqoo represents positivity. It's the win factor. When you embrace Marqoo, you're winning. The environment is win. You know that you're putting your best foot forward. And you know that when you embrace Marqoo, because it represents positivity, it looks good. So the person that's embracing Marqoo at the interview, they're not worried about how they look because they know that they look pristine. They know that they can be trusted. They know that they've embraced positivity. So anytime a job comes available or that an employer wants something extra out of them, they can then use the tentacles that Marqoo represents, the hope and the life that Marqoo represents. And you're always going to win when you're truthful. So, you know, it's a whole nother swag or aura that you put on. And it's not all about the clothes, it's about the definition of what Marqoo means. You embrace that moment. It becomes your own definition at that moment. The person that comes in the job to interview before you, if they have a Marqoo suit on, you know, hey, I'm sitting in the area with winners. So that makes me even more compelling to get the job. It's not that this person will get it over me because we're together. You know, we're operating from the same area. You see a person that doesn't come in with the Marqoo suit on, they may win, they may not win. But you know that you have the win factor at all times. It's almost like having the best suit or the best tie at the event. People are going to notice you by your tie. They're going to zero in on your tie. Because you know you have the best tie in the room, you're going to have a certain kind of a swag to you, or a persona, or a prestige, a draw, you know. And that right there is the Marqoo moment right there. That's it. And so now you understand where you are. You just take that moment and you press the gas and you come out with the trophy. So that's Marqoo. The Marqoo moment is when, okay, let's look at it this way. When you're watching a basketball game and you see your favorite athlete hit a three-point shot, and then they run down the court and hit another three-point shot, you say, they're on fire. They've entered into a moment. That's the same thing with the Marqoo moment. That athlete believed that they could make the shot. So there was a swagger and a confidence about them. So the confidence equals the acceptance of the moment that you're in. What is the moment? It's a positive moment. If it's positive, it stands out. It's strong. It appears to be appealing to most, and it draws in. So there's a lot of energy that comes along with being confident. So if it's just Hassan is just the most confident guy selling a product, if that's what you say, then just because people know that, they would rather be on my team because I know I'm going to win. So when you're talking about the Marqoo moment, everyone that rolls with me, rides with me, politics with me, stands up with me, and speaks with me, understands that I'm in that moment, and I'm in that moment to win. So that rubs off on the designing of the outfit, the perfume, the cologne, everything that the brand embellishes is that moment. The moment not to thrive, but to overachieve and to win. It's that moment. The company Marqoo, the brand Marqoo, is a lifestyle. And with that lifestyle, I want people to understand when you see a certain brand, you see the brand. You wear the brand because other people are wearing the brand. But what does that brand mean? Does it have a meaning behind it? Is there a definition behind it? Or is it just a shirt or a suit or something that you're just going to take to the cleaners or put in the washing machine? Is there a meaning behind it? So the conveyance is this. We're something that has some meaning. We're something that's going to give you confidence. We're something that other people can identify with. When they see you across the room, they know that you're in that moment. So now there's a conversation that's going to occur. So, you know, we're talking about networking. You know, we have Facebooks and we have Twitters, you know, we have Instagram and Snapchat and these things. And people say, oh, are you in Snapchat? Are you in Facebook? Well, let me get your connection. No one has to ask. when they see the Marqoo suit or they see the Marqoo shirt or the jeans, they automatically know that there's someone that's thinking the same way I'm thinking, and that brings people together. In that moment, they win. And that's the Marqoo moment, bringing people together on the same page of positivity. And what happens is it chips away from all of the misguided or misunderstandings that happen in life when people coming against each other. You know, knowing that you're on the same page builds a team. And so we're team building in the Marqoo moment as well. People tweet, you know, they use social media to express a feeling. And whatever they're feeling for the moment is what they tweet or what they post. People think that everything can't be positive. But if everything were to be positive, you enter into a moment of positivity, and that's a Marqoo moment. So if you're tweeting, you're talking about Marqoo. And hey, you know what? This happened today. Man, I like Marqoo, man. Marqoo is cool. I put on my Marqoo suit, and I went in. I just knew that I was going to get the job. I put the Marqoo suit on, and I said, you know what? I believe in all positivity, and the person that's interviewing me has to know that I'm positive. I am positive. So if you want to call it your Superman cape, call it that. But in essence, it's positivity. And so that gives you, the lady or the man, it gives them an understanding of what their true identity is. Now, we know Marqoo is not going to take the place of a person's identity, but what it does is it embraces and it marries that person for positivity. You have to get your positivity from something. Sometimes it's a flower, it could be a picture, it could be a car. So people are already assimilating items with how they feel. So it's something that's already happening. But if you can define it for yourself and you can own a part of it, it keeps you close to a network of people that feel the same way. See, this is the part of creativity that we were designed to have anyway. And a lot of times things come up and it kind of crushes that creativity bug that's on the inside of you. Some people, they don't even know they have a creativity bug, you know? But until that creativity wheel starts turning, you'll be stuck, you know? But Marqoo is there to help people. You know, either if we're nourishing people with water, you know, where we're not even talking about the elements in the water that actually helps the body, you know? So it's all about being positive again. If we're clothing the body, or if we're using non-toxic perfumes and colognes that even give you much more of a aura about who you are and a positivity, because people are always going to tell you smell good. So it's just, we're leaving out anything that can cause a negative issue, which also causes you to identify with negative things and stay away from them. You know, Gatorade had this wonderful approach when they first came out. It's in you, you know. And some of the athletes and the actors that were in the commercials, you could see like them bleeding the color of the Gatorade. It's in you, you know. And that really made people feel like it was in them, you know, for that moment. And it became so strong that professional sports, when you're watching TV or if you're going to visit them, and if you look behind the players or anywhere around the players, what do you see? That moment is still represented, the Gatorade, you know? And that's how companies that are as successful as Gatorade are marketing themselves, you know? They dump Gatorade on each other because it says it's in you. So what's the moment about after you've got the job, you know, with the Marqoo suit on and the slacks? The celebration moment is to say, hey, my confidence was here today. I was in the moment, man. I'm in the moment. You should be in the moment. How did you get in the moment? First, you got to think positive. Think positive. Well, okay, I have something in my pocket. I have a rabbit's foot, you know. This is my positivity mechanism, something I can attach myself to. Well, put the rabbit's foot down and embrace Marqoo and keep the moment with you all throughout. So your celebration should be the fact that you understand what your identity is. Marqoo isn't speaking for you, it's speaking to you, and it's merging with you is what it's doing. It supports the positivity that you already have. That's what it does. It's like an awakening, you know? You hit a moment and you're like, I'm here. Now my jump shot is on. Swish, swish, swish. This is where I am. Absolutely. They can see it. Every employer knows which employee to hire. People may change after 90 days, but every employer knows what they want on their team to represent them. If you hit the weight room, you've been in the gym, when you go in before the coaches and they see your physique, they'll say, we need this size right here to fill this gap. But you have to be able to perform as well too, to fit the mold. Well, embracing positivity gives you the performance. You're V12, V14 already. So you're vrooming, you're emitting positivity. And then after that, when they ask you questions, you can nail the questions with the right answer from a pure place because you're positive. So you're embracing positivity and you win. It's no more, I hope this tie looks good. I hope this suit looks good. You check it and you keep it moving because you know you're in a Marqoo moment. So you're going to come out with the trophy regardless. You know something? I've taken 300 people, men, women, and children, off the streets. And I've put them in the Marqoo moment only because they've embraced it. So now they've gotten jobs, they have apartments, and 157 of those people are now business owners because they have embraced the Marqoo moment. Had they not embraced the Marqoo moment, they still would have been just as successful. But it's much more than the moment, it's the moment along with a lifestyle now that they have embraced. And so they're my biggest advocates from not even having to invest in the process of the project, or the products at all. So if anyone wants to really know if the Marqoo moment works, it's working with something that couldn't give anything back. And I've been able to make it successful through the Marqoo moment. And now we have walking and talking individuals that were on third grade levels of their aptitude academically, that were 35, 40 years old. Now they have jobs, and a great portion of them have families, have been married when they didn't think that was going to happen. So that was the hope of the Marqoo moment. And now they're business owners and homeowners. Where I could walk today, the camera could follow me and I could take you to these places where they laid. And then I could take you to where they're laying now. And the only way that I could have done that is by identifying with what the Marqoo moment is first for myself, allowing the change to be created within my mind, and then transferring that change to people realistically, not just oratorically, but realistically, not even saying much, but putting my hands to the plow. And that's what's happened. One of the things that I would like to see happen is that Marqoo becomes global on the sense that we have so many people that's been touched by Marqoo, that have wore Marqoo and became empowered by Marqoo, and then they become themselves their own bosses, husbands, wives, teachers, doctors, lawyers, because they were able to have positivity that they could connect with and confidence that they could connect with that would take them to the next level. And that's what we are advocating. It's not so much as making a bunch of money off of the brand, but it's about impacting as many people as we can, empowering them, taking people out of debt. into a prosperous way of life, not just financial prosperity, but emotional prosperity. There's nothing like seeing a person that's confident. If you're confident, no one can tell you no. So if we're empowering people throughout the country like that, it helps the local and state governments because there's no dilapidated areas where people are sleeping on the streets. Those people have jobs. So when tourists come through and see the city and states, they're not going to see these things that become eyesores anymore. So, we're talking about changes, big changes.